Don't you listen, Davy, while I say, how can you tell me that you're going away? Don't say that we must part. Don't you break my aching heart. You know I loved you truly many years, loved you night and day. How can you leave me? Can't you see my tears? Listen while I sing. After you've gone and left me crying, after you've gone, there's no denying. You'll feel blue, you'll feel sad. You'll miss the dearest pal that you've ever had. There'll come a time, now don't forget it. There'll come a time when you regret it. Someday when you grow lonely, your heart will break like mine. You want me only. After you've gone, after you've gone away. Now don't you remember how you used to say, you always loved me in the same old way? And now it's very strange that you should ever change. Perhaps some other sweetie won your heart, tempted you away. But let me warn you, though we're miles apart, you'll regret it someday. After I'm gone, after we break up, after I'm gone, you're gonna wake up and you will find you were blind. Let somebody come along and change your mind. After the years we've been together, through joy and tear and all kind of weather, someday blue and downhearted, you long to be with me back again where you started. After I'm gone, after I'm gone away. Hello friends, this week we are working on, in fact, my favorite song ever written, the 1918 tune, After You've Gone. I like this for a number of reasons. One, it stands as a beautiful, popular tune of the day, and it's also a really wonderful vehicle for jazz improvisation as well, and that's why it's really had this lasting power that it has over the years. This is something that you will find played in so many different circles, from Western swing to manouche jazz to traditional jazz to even just normal standards groups these days are still playing this tune. What I've done in this recording that we just played through is use both the verses and the choruses, which this is an oddity but did occur from time to time in earlier songs, that there would in fact be two different choruses. Sometimes the choruses and verse were written specifically, one for a female part, one for a male part. And there were actually some great recordings of this as a duet out there. It works really well just as a standalone song. But as I said, it's really become popularized as a jazz standard. So let's just dive into some of the idiosyncrasies of this song, but let's start out with that little intro section, which is really just the last 4 bars of the tune. So we're plucking a little bit of this. It's going to start with an open C string, and you're going to hammer on the D on the 2nd fret, and then play the F on the 1st fret of your E string. And then what we'll do is we're going to strum up with the 1st finger to grab the A. So you might hit the F again along with that. So the first couple notes will. And then we'll come down with the thumb. And then as we strum the C chord, our dominant chord, we're just going to hit kind of the bottom 2 strings here. So as we walk up, so we're going to do the same thing, C, hammer on the D, and then go to an E, G, and then we're at the F chord again, but it walks down. It goes A, G, F right at the end. So we're just going to do that by using our reentrant tuning, using the high G string. And then what I do here is one of my favorite little tricks is we're going from a C7th to a C7th sharp 5 at the end, but we're not going to use this C7th chord right here that we're used to. What we're going to do instead is use this C7th voicing, which looks like our regular C major chord, but we're playing the B flat on the 3rd fret of our G string, so it's 3, open, open, 3. And then to get down to our C7 sharp 5, we'll just bring this on down to the 1st fret, so now we have G sharp, C, E, and B flat. So we're changing this note to the 1st note now. So everything else is actually remaining the same. We're just adding a G sharp to the chord. And then we're into the changes right there. So let me play the entire intro very slowly for you so you can watch the hands. And then we're right into the verse of the tune. Now it's okay to omit the verses that are in here. As I said, it stands alone as a song by itself outside of a jazz context, so it's nice to have these verses in there, but you don't have to play them. Although you'll find that this is one of the few tunes that many people do include at least the 1st verse, generally not the 2nd, and generally not the 2nd chorus as well, although you find that frequently in Western swing versions of the tune. The verse itself is a fairly simple chord progression, something we're really used to playing. There's not really any funky chords in here that we necessarily need to talk about at all. And the same goes really with the chorus. The chorus, we're starting on the 4 chord, our typical 4 to minor 4, B flat 6 to B flat minor 6 that we see in so many other tunes, like I'll See You in My Dreams. We've gone over this progression so many times. It's very similar to that. But what I want to talk about is actually different ways of approaching this song as far as playing it. This was originally really a more bluesy sort of song. It was a very slow tune. Even how I played it in this is quite a bit faster than the original, say, Ruth Etting recording of this tune. But most people now do this double time. So what does double time mean? This is something we've never talked about. So we're going to address just the chorus of the tune in double time. So what we're doing is we're doubling the time of the chords. So instead of playing 1 bar of B flat, 1 bar of B flat 6th, we're going to play twice as fast, but the vocals are going to stay identical to where they are, the rhythm of the vocals. So we're going to play twice as fast and then just twice as long on each chord. So instead of being 1 bar of B flat, in double time we'll now have 2 bars of B flat at twice the speed. So instead of after you've gone, left me crying, after you've gone, there's no denying. Instead of that, we'll now have twice as fast. After you've gone, left me crying, after you've gone, well, there's no denying. No fear blue, no fear sad. So we can do that, and that's generally how most people play it, especially in gypsy jazz circles. You have this double time sort of feel. Another way that you could approach this is doing the verse in strict time, and then double timing the chorus is another popular way of doing this. And doing double time such as this is something that's a lot of fun in many of these old standards, as they're very short tunes. It's nice to treat different choruses of the tunes in different ways so that we're not becoming too repetitious throughout. So I highly recommend going through this song and trying the entire thing in double time, or going back and forth between double time and standard time. I'll see y'all next week.